Football Focus has come out with a roster rankings list, and they have ranked the Bears 23rd in the NFL when you compare them to all 32 teams. So let's take a look at if they are correct or not. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. So if you're a Bears fan, hit that big red subscribe button down below. Make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms, guys, and make sure to hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I drop a new video, folks. A lot to get into with the NFL season approaching. Ton of Bears content on this channel. You don't want to miss out. Let's get into it. Here we go. I've got PFF's roster rankings of all 32 NFL teams, 1 through 32, of course. And I've got a lot of problems with this list, folks, okay? I could probably redo this entire list, but I'll do that in another video. We're just going to specifically focus on the Bears, who are right down here at number 23, okay? So according to PFF, this is where the Bears are ranked in terms of their roster heading into this upcoming 2021 NFL season compared to all these other teams. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through this list and mark down the teams that I'm like, okay, they're definitively better than the Bears. And then I'm going to take a look at the teams that are definitively worse than the Bears. And then the teams that you can make an argument for either or. That team's better than the Bears or the Bears are better than that team. And then we'll kind of see the real range or the real ranking for the Bears. So let's get started here at the top with, obviously, the top teams here. Look, no one's going to argue that the Bucs are better than the Bears, even though the Bears beat them last year, which is funny enough. But again, they are the defending Super Bowl champions, so I'm going to say yes, they are better than the Bears. Duh. The Chiefs are better than the Bears. The Browns have a Super Bowl roster, arguably the best roster in the NFL. They are better than the Bears, even if you are not a big fan of Baker Mayfield. The Buffalo Bills are better than the Bears. The Baltimore Ravens are. The Green Bay Packers, now look, if Aaron Rodgers obviously is not on the Packers, I believe we can beat them. But let's just assume that Aaron Rodgers returns to the Packers, which at that point, yes, they are better than the Bears, all right? The Los Angeles Rams, that is a Super Bowl team. They are better than the Bears. Now, after that, I've got some problems here because I completely disagree with having the Cowboys this high. The Vikings should be nowhere near the top 10. And then the Broncos should not be either. They've got the Seahawks, the Steelers, the Colts, the Titans, who should all be above these teams. And so that's why I said I'll do that in another video. Let's just talk about in terms of, where the Bears are. So let me mark down the Bears. If these teams should be higher or lower than the Bears. So Cowboys, I'm going to say, look, I don't think you could definitively say that the Cowboys are better than the Bears. Obviously, they're in the worst division in football. Their defense isn't very good. Do they have, obviously, a better quarterback? Well, yeah, we haven't seen Justin Fields play, and their offense is better. I agree. But I'm just going to say that, it's kind of neutral, right? You can make an argument one way or another. You absolutely cannot say that the Vikings are better than the Bears. You can make that argument saying that it's a toss-up. We've owned the Vikings with Mitchell Trubisky over the past couple of seasons, okay? The Denver Broncos, I am not willing to say that they are definitively better than the Bears. In fact, right now, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to take the Bears over the Broncos. I'm sorry. I don't trust Drew Lock. Yes, I know they added Teddy Bridgewater, but that isn't, to me, much of an upgrade. Their defense is good, yes, but for the most part, I think you can make an argument, or in my case, I think the Bears are better. The 49ers, you can make an argument. If you do want to say that they are better, fine. So I'll kind of put it a little bit of both. I think it's a bit of a toss-up, right? They are removed from the Super Bowl from 2 years ago, but folks, this roster obviously has regressed a little bit in terms of what they have. And so to me, again, you got Jimmy Garoppolo coming back. Will Trey Lance start? Probably not. So we can't assume quarterback change. And then in terms of their offensive weapons, yeah, I know you got George Kittle, but outside of that, guys that are emerging like a Brandon Ayuk, a Deebo Samuel, but no definitive stars outside of George Kittle. So, yeah, you can say that they're better, but you can also make the argument, okay? Washington football team. They made the playoffs last year. Very good defense. Very solid team with good coaching. I think you can make the argument that they're better than the Bears. I don't know if it's definitive. I don't think it is. They're, again, worst division in football. You signed Ryan Fitzpatrick. So just saying. Titans, I think the Titans are better than the Bears. I do. I love their roster. I think they're better. The Colts, I think, are better than the Bears. Now, you could make the argument maybe because Carson Wentz was very broken last year, but this is a team that made the playoffs last year. And obviously, they are loaded on the offensive line. They have a very solid defense. I think they're better than the Bears, so I'm just going to go ahead and say that they're better. I think the Seahawks are better. I think the Steelers are better. Now, this is where it kind of gets tricky here with the Saints, Patriots, teams like that. So let me go down here and just take out the teams that I know are worse than the Bears for sure. All right? We don't know what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson, but this Texans roster is pitiful. It's brutal. They are not better. The Lions are not better. The Jets are not better. The Eagles are not better. The Jaguars are not better. The Raiders are not better. The Bengals are not better. I know the Falcons drafted Kyle Pitts. They'll have a good offense, but their defense is putrid. I don't think they're better. The Panthers added Sam Darnold. I don't think they're better. So, you can take out all those teams. So now, we've got these handful of teams here left. Let's go through each of them. The Saints, right? Are they better? They lost Drew Brees. Obviously, they beat us in the playoffs. So, let's say they are better. But how much? With Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill at quarterback, they did win a lot of games. But fine, I'll give Sean Payton his respect. They're better than the Bears. The Patriots, I'm not going to say that they're better than the Bears definitively, okay? I'm going to put this as an argument. They added a lot of talent with Jonnu Smith, with Hunter Henry, but you still got Cam Newton at quarterback, all right? And until I see Cam Newton turn it around, which I'm not expecting him to, or unless Mac Jones turns into a franchise quarterback, I don't think you can say that they're much better. Their defense is solid, but so is the Bears. So you make the argument that it's in the middle. The Giants, I don't think the Giants are better than the Bears. I really don't. Yeah, they added some offensive firepower in Kenny Galladay, but the defense is nothing great. You still got Daniel Jones, who isn't very good, so I don't think you can say that. The Chargers, I think you can make the argument, but I'm going to give the Chargers a little respect here. Justin Herbert's an absolute stud. We know that. Brandon Staley was actually on the Bears coaching staff a few years back. We know he's going to be a solid coach. And this roster for the Chargers is loaded. I like this team. I'm going to say they're better. The Cardinals, you can make an argument that the Cardinals or the Bears, whichever team is better. I think their roster is solid, not spectacular. And then the Dolphins, too, I think you can make the argument. Obviously, we know that Tua has a lot of improvement to do, so we'll see what happens with him. So that's essentially it going through the entire 32 teams. Now, let's take a look at the teams definitively better, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all right, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, all right? So really, the Bears should be somewhere in this range of 15, potentially, again, if you make the argument, right, let's say 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So the Bears really should be in this range, 15 to 20, okay? But more so to me on the higher end, all right? Closer to, average roster in the NFL, more so than a bottom third. And PFF has them at